Stories are not knowing what you're up against. My name is Osademibi, and every week I will tell you a short story written by a Nigerian writer or author. That's the long and short of it. So without much ado, this week's story is by Ekemini Ogunsola, and it's the first part of the story titled Love and Its Politics. Listen in next week for the concluding part. Mama Afolabi went on and on about Sambo and his family as soon as they left. Her face lit up as she spoke. He had on a Keaton K5 suit. Those suits are not cheap. Mama Afolabi was dressed like she was attending one of the biggest weddings in Lagos, probably that of a governor who was getting married to an Alhaji's daughter. She was wearing one of her most expensive Ashoke attires and beads, both of which she had gotten from Bellissimo, a very expensive franchise in Nigeria. She even had a personal relationship with the owners. Ireti, did you get a good look at that suit? She asked her 49-year-old daughter-in-law, mother of Titilayo Afolabi. Ireti continued to eat from her bowl of fresh white grapes. You know it takes about 50 hours to design and stitch one of those suits. Roughly 50 suits are made by each designer in a year. Titilayo's father, Dimeji, cut in. When it came to recognizing wealth, the Afolabis were professionals. Mama Afolabi, being one of the top socialites in Lagos, knew everyone that was anyone. She always bragged about how impossible it was for her to attend all the weddings she was invited to in a year. In fact, she was the one who introduced her son to Ireti, daughter of Oyetunji Williams, a politician and successful businessman. Mama Afolabi and Oyetunji Williams had been family friends for years, and it had been their lifelong plan to join their children in holy matrimony. Now, all she wanted was for her 24-year-old granddaughter, Titilayo, to join family ties with the Sanusis, or as she liked to call them, the old money Sanusis. Wasn't Yusuf Sanusi on the 2015 Forbes Billionaires list? Ireti finally contributed to the conversation as she walked from the dining area to where her husband was seated. Yes, he is the one. Mama Afolabi threw her hands in the air as she exclaimed, almost knocking her head tie off her small head. With her reading glasses sliding off her nose as she grinned, she turned to look at her granddaughter as if she were a bag of money. Titi, you have really hit jackpot with Sambo, she said. Titi smiled reluctantly. All she had heard that evening was how impressed her family was by the Sanusis and their riches. In the midst of all the Sanusis are this, and, oh, the Sanusis are that, Titi could not stop her mind from drawing a timeline of the events that led to her meeting Sambo. She was pulled back a couple of years to when she had introduced her then-boyfriend to her family, to Mama Afolabi actually. Titi loved Chidi, and at the time, she could not think of anything better than spending the rest of her life with him. She was very fond of Chidi's mom, who always ordered nkwobi from one of the best native restaurants on the island whenever Titi was visiting. Mwamunye, you must eat, oh. You must eat very well so that you can be looking very sweet for my son, Chidi's mom would always say, and Titi would laugh. Chidi, so, do and marry. so that my grandchildren will look like this beautiful girl," she would say, her fat arms dancing as she played with Titi's cheeks. "My mother loves you," Chidi would always say on their way back to Titi's house. It made Titi happy and anxious at the same time. She knew that whenever Chidi started to talk about his mom's love for her, he would start to ask her when she was planning on introducing him to her own family. "Soon," Titi always said with a fake smile on her face. "Layo," Chidi would always call her. "Are you ashamed of me?" "God forbid, never," she would sigh. "Look, my family is just a case." "But that is family for you. They can't be that bad though." Titi would laugh. "Look, Chidi, you're only saying that because you have not met my family." "But that is the whole point, Layo. I want to meet them. They need to know that there is a man who is serious about marrying their daughter." Chidi was very traditional and family-oriented. He wanted things done according to culture. He always joked about how much Titi's bride price would be. "Layo, I am a very lucky man." He would smile as she lay on his chest and he played with her natural hair. And what makes you so lucky?" "Even if I sold everything in my name, I still would not be able to afford even half of your bride price." Titi would frown and playfully hit Chidi on the chest. "Chidi, I am not an object." "You certainly cannot be bought," he would say, kissing her on her forehead. Titi was not very traditional. If Chidi had agreed, they would have had a private wedding on the beach and moved to some other part of the world, far away from their families. However, she decided to give Chidi what he wanted. "Please, who am I speaking to and what have you done with my girlfriend?" Chidi asked in disbelief when she invited him over to her house to watch a movie. Titi sighed. Did he always have to be so dramatic? "Listen, Chidi, when you get here, tell the gate man you are here to see Titi Layo Afolabi. Don't call me Layo. No one in my house calls me by that name." "Okay, madam," Chidi replied, a smile evident in his voice. "I love you," Titi said and hung up, her heart beating like a talking drum. She really wanted her family to love Chidi like she loved him. She did not want her father to scare him away with his sarcasm, or worse, her grandmother to size him up. As for her mom, she was likely to agree with whatever Mama Afolabi said. She wanted them to embrace him the same way his mom had embraced her. Titi was sitting down in one of the living rooms with her grandmother when Chidi texted her that he was 5 minutes away. Her heart sunk further in the pits of her stomach. She started biting her nails like she did whenever she was nervous. She looked over at her grandmother, sipping her orange juice. She was focused on whatever program she was watching. Before Titi could even try to calm herself down, Wahid, their gate man, walked into their living room after knocking on the door twice. "Madam Titi, Mr. Chidi Onoha is here to see you," he announced. Titi's grandmother narrowed her eyes at her. "Titi, who is that?" "Grandma, he's my boyfriend," Titi mumbled. Mama Afolabi grinned. "Finally. I was wondering how long it would take you." Titi smiled awkwardly and got up to give Chidi a warm welcome when Wahid ushered him into their Ikoyi mansion. Chidi first looked around the house in shock before his eyes settled on Titi. She gave him an appropriate hug and held his hand, walking him to where Mama Afolabi was seated. "Chidi, this is my grandma. Grandma, this is Chidi," Titi said so quickly, as if she was in a hurry to go somewhere. She fidgeted continuously as she waited to see what would happen next. "Mrs. Jumoke Afolabi, nice to meet you." Titi's grandmother formally introduced herself to Chidi. She did not stand up to give him a hug, like Chidi's mom always did. Neither did she stretch out her hand to offer him a handshake. She just smiled at Chidi till her eyes became two small dots. "It is such a pleasure to meet you, madam." Chidi smiled and slightly bowed. "Comfort," Mama Afolabi called out to one of the housemaids. "Bring some refreshments for Titilayo's visitor." Titi and Chidi sat on the grand sofa adjacent to Mama Afolabi, and silence filled the room thereafter. Comfort and two other maids strolled in with 3 trays, one with assorted wines, another with 3 plates of suya and kilishi, and the third one with wine glasses and a wine opener. "Madam, thank you so much, but you really do not have to," Chidi said cheerfully to Mama Afolabi. "Oh, please, don't be silly," Mama Afolabi hissed. "A friend of Titi is a friend of the family." By this point, Chidi was ecstatic. He was smiling so hard he began to look scary. As he dived into his plate of suya and kilishi, Mama Afolabi leaned in closer with her hands resting on her laps. "So, what did you say your name was again?" she asked softly. Chidi looked up and collected the serviette Titi was holding out to him. "Ma, my name is Chidi Onoha." "Son of Onoha the minister?" Mama Afolabi asked, looking at Chidi like she was in a board meeting. Chidi turned to look at Titi, who was staring at the floor. "No, ma." "Okay, Onoha the architect?" Mama Afolabi asked, smiling like she had gotten it this time. "No, ma." Chidi looked confused. The smile on Mama Afolabi's face was fading slowly. "Then you must be the son of Onoha the senator then?" she said with a straight face. Chidi coughed. "I'm afraid not." Mama Afolabi hit her laps with her 2 hands. "Oh, for God's sake, which of the Onohas are you then?" she asked impatiently. Titi watched realization dawn on Chidi's face. At this point, Titi was praying for the ground to open up and swallow her. She was wishing she had not invited Chidi to her house. She knew how this was going to end. Ekemini Ogunsola is a writer, speaker, and emotional intelligence coach based in Philadelphia. She is the creator and host of the Yellow podcast, and she shares her writing on Medium at Ekemini Ogunsola. Her debut book, Emotions in His Image, launched on June 12, 2025, and it is available to order from barnesandnoble.com, Amazon, and other retailers. You can connect with Ekemini on Instagram at KemXVI and listen to the Yellow Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Details and links will be in the episode description. If you've got a story you would like to be featured on this podcast, or a published book you want to make into an audiobook, I would love to hear from you. Send an email to info@osadumebi.com or send me a message at Osadumebi on either Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or X. I look forward to collaborating with you. And if you've enjoyed this week's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with that one person you know will enjoy listening. Tell them that stories are a good escape for a few minutes each week.